reporting live from the Bamboozle Gun News Network. See if anybody hop up in this jump before I get started. And I really ain't got nothing to talk about. It ain't so much I ain't got nothing to talk about. It's a whole bunch of crap to talk about. Sometimes I just don't feel like talking. Now let me see what I got here. Yes, sir. Alright. I'ma just go ahead and get started. Boy, I tell you what, conviction, hell of a drug, boy. Y'all can't see it. My man, now it wasn't CEO, it was Jeremiah the Hebrew. He hopped up on the on my last, I think my last upload, and asked me, like how my cigarette or how was the Nicorette gum working. I said no, it ain't working because I ain't even cracked the box open. So I'm actually sitting here reading the box, seeing how much of this I'm supposed to take, yo. Man, I'm telling you, the flesh hell of a drug, bro. I gotta do it though, man. Okay. Let's see what we got here. Oh boy, let me see. What's happening with it? Before I get started, let me pop my gum. I'm telling you, boy. Granted, I understand we in captivity, right? And I understand, like, granted, I wasn't there, so I feel like, why I gotta pay for that? You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, malt liquor, you know, drugs, menthol cigarettes, the pimp game. The list goes on and on of stuff we were unaware of to try to survive, or they put these movies out and whatnot to help, but you know what I'm saying? To give us a new identity. And it might last for a minute because, you know, sin or anything they charm you into, it got to have an initial, whatever. It got to have an initial thing to charm you into it. But what you don't realize how it's putting its fangs in. Then you wake up in a prison one day and realize you got to do everything break out. And in certain instances, you might actually enjoy certain aspects of the prison. You know what I mean? It's real on the battlefield, baby. Let's see if this Nicorette gum work. What's going on with y'all? What's happening with it? I ain't making no noise, just left the gym. Doing a lustrous workout. And now here in Maryland, they are calling for approximately 2 feet of snow. It's unbelievable. Like Biggie said, it's unbelievable. So we'll see how that play out. But it seems like anytime it's snow or anytime snow on the way, I lose all my gusto. From the time now on the Sabbath, sundown Friday, sundown today, right? But after I got off work and I paid some bills, and I had some more running around. I went in the house about 5 o'clock. I guess sunset was here about 5:45. I've been sleeping on and off since then. I meant to do this live earlier. What's up, Cabers? What's up, Steve Roberts? What's happening with it? Ain't nothing, maintaining the game. Got my Nicorette gum. I'm telling you, the things you gotta do to break free. And it's not that I truly want to, like, this is probably the last hurdle. Outside a little, you know, maybe my attitude one day, or, you know, I guess we'll never be truly without sin, but habitually speaking, I've talked about, you know, my issue with drug abuse and, you know what I'm saying, codependency, lack of confidence, you know what I'm saying, all that's been built up. It's like the last mile is the longest mile. And then justification, I'm like, well, you know, I'm in pretty decent shape considering I do smoke cigarettes. You know what I mean? You know, I could justify it in my mind. Here I go in my mind again. Well, you don't overcome all that. You can have one thing. 99 and a half ain't gonna do. And now they say, right? Yeah, yes, sir. Appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you, Caber. Yeah, it's time. I think I better let it go. You know what I mean? But here's the thing, right? I could justify it and say, oh, you overcome all this, you know, give yourself one thing, woo, right? But they say, and I caught this earlier on, I just didn't completely keep implementing it. Hey, what's up, Pearl? So whereas though, they say instead of, you know, focusing on what you're giving up, when you give up something, you're supposed to focus on what you're obtaining. Because if I can put this together, I think the last time I did it, I kind of felt some type way about a week. And then, like, I was moving around and I wasn't subconsciously thinking about it, right? Anything you do habitually, I guess it attaches to your brain, through your spirit, however that way, right? But if I could put this campaign together, and for real, outside of anything, I really ain't stressed. It's just a habit, you know what I'm saying? And I need to look at it like it's just that. But in my mind, I've created this Goliath that really ain't as big as I make it out to be. You know what I'm saying? I've disciplined myself in a plethora of other areas that I never thought. And some of them I've disciplined in ways it just naturally happened. I didn't consciously think, yo, discipline my time or whatever the case may be, right? But I need to focus on what I can gain in quitting. Because for the most part, I'm in pretty decent shape to consider, my history of drug abuse and alcoholism and whatnot. I'm pretty decent shape considered all in all. I'm a pretty athletic type of guy by default. I put this together, my content might change into doing CrossFit of them brothers who be flipping off of roofs and, jump on the light pole and then spot them. Man, I'm trying to do some stuff people ain't, you know what I'm saying? Like be elite. Not just physically, that's one component, but I'm looking at this thing in totality, holistically. Elite mentally, in humility. God damn, this gum nasty. And maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it's so nasty, it won't make me none of it. But anyway, right? Elite, spiritually through humility. Elite, mentally. Elite emotionally. All components of life that are actually opposite of the world and materialism, superficiality, and status. I was wondering how, like, it seemed like with the boule people, right? And I just checked out I was late on it, my man, Truth Unedited, right? And he's going, and then since it's Black History Month, he might well cover the black bamboozlers, right? So where though, like, come to find out, all the people we celebrate for Black History were all in, the boule or what's them folks? Shucks. I forgot them people's names. I don't care nothing about them. But like Marcus Garvey was in there, W.E.B. Du Bois was in there. You know what I'm saying? All these, they were actually, still subservient to, let's say, the higher ups of the Masonic order or whatever the case may be. And these are our heroes, yo. I've been said this, right? God mercy, it's gum there. I might be quicker than I think. praise the Most High, right? I was thinking about this for Black History Month, right? Instead of us celebrating, Michael King, Martin Luther King, or, I got mad respect for Malcolm X, right? But what about the dude in your town who beat the policeman up and lived to tell the story and he lived to be 80? You know what I'm saying? What about him for Black History Month? Like the unsung heroes. You know what I'm saying? The woman who lived to be 103, and after she turned her life around, the last 50 years of her life, she fed the homeless. What about the black, heroes in your city or your town? Why they always gotta keep getting us these folk who, being part of these, secret societies? It never made no sense to me, right? When I'm thinking about college, now I don't want to go to college because that don't make no sense. But I'm going to college to play basketball. In the process of playing basketball in college, I'll figure out what I'm going to do with my life. So then I want to be different. So I want to go HBCU. But then I see the HBCUs, right? And then I'm like, why? It's a historically black college. But why they pledge Greek at a black college? That's like going to Yale and pledging Palestinian. You know what I mean? Huh? What are they talking about? And I could never get an answer. Now, granted, to a greater level of degree now, I understand this whole matrix in the realm of captivity and why we can't do certain stuff and so on and so forth and why certain stuff ain't meant to work. Which does vex me sometimes because reading these type of books during my formative years, it gave me a sense of community. It gave me a sense of servitude. And then, how I live. Like, I came up in a time where when we leave for church Sunday morning, we might not get back in the house till Sunday evening, yo. You know what I'm saying? First of all, you got to go pick up the elder board members. You know what I'm saying? That's cool. Boom. Then we went to a Methodist church, so they pretty good on time for ain't like Baptist church, you understand? Then after we leave out of there, then we got some bulletins, some little sandwiches and muffins and whatnot from the after church kind of thingy thing. Then we go in the hood and we get that out. You know what I'm saying? Small town, we know everybody, right? Then we say, oh, since we out here, now we gotta go visit the sick and shut in. Do people still visit the sick and shut in anymore? You know what I'm saying? Then we gotta go to Miss Gertrude's house and chit chat for a while. Come to find out she need a few things from the store. They gonna ride to the store. They hand me the list. I gotta go in there and get the stuff and make sure I use the coupons. Then we come back. Then I come back out, make sure it's up to par, because it got to be up to par, because I'm gonna be shamed. You know what I'm saying? And then we'll finally get home 6, 7 o'clock after leaving up about 7 in the morning. Beat down tired. You know what I'm saying? Then I gotta get ready for school in the morning. Or any other domestic task, chopping wood and all that. That's how I grew up, yo. That's why I want my own land. I need that. And I truly believe, right, that the blessings of the Most High are tied to something that has nothing to do with that. Like, my cigarette smoking. Steve Roberts say, my challenge is the addiction of thinking so much and being abstinent. I think I'm saying that right. Abstinent a grip is still hard not to look at women at the gym, especially when you know. Thank you, my brother. I got to keep it real in the battlefield. And I ain't got no problem telling on myself. I just feel like sometimes I should be better than what I'm is, right? And again, this is all a conceptual thing in my mind. And brother Stephen, I appreciate you for sharing that, right? I'm gonna be totally frank and honest. I'll keep it so real, it might scare you. Now, of course, I got enough sense not to do no stupid stuff, right? But I'll give you an example, right? I was talking to a participant where I work at. That's what we call them, right? And we were talking about something. And I said, I forgot how we got on this topic. But I said, guess how many people I've unalived in my mind throughout my 42 years on Earth? Probably about 3,000. Ask me how many bodies I actually have. And that's what's so hard about Bible. It's like, sometimes, be honest with you, I love the Mohawk. Don't get it twisted, because he loved me first on phone them, right? But sometimes when I read, the disciples and the prophets, the standard or the level of sanctification and holiness, sometimes I feel like I can't get up to that bar, bro. You know what I'm saying? No, and I don't know if I'm doing it the wrong way under my own power. I've been fasting since I started last Sunday, I believe. Sunday or Monday. Sun up, sun down, right? But hearing about it, what do you do? Gouge your eyeballs out? You know what I'm saying? Plus, I told y'all last video, when I did the time frame, I went through spiritual heaviness, right? So in the last 13 years, right, I've had about 7 months of quality interpersonal attachment relationship, whatever you want to call that, interaction with a female or 2 women in the last 13 years, yeah. I don't need, that is conceptually mind-boggling on a day-to-day basis when I think about, how did I, no different than I was almost out of work for an entire decade. Think about it. How did I survive an entire decade without being employed consistently, yo? You know what I mean? I ain't no freakazoid or nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? Of course, we all got our, desires and whatnot, but I got to sell in the mind. Ain't certain stuff I ain't doing. You know what I mean? But when you go on these Planet, I'm sitting in front of Planet Fitness now. You know what I'm saying? Well, I mean, it's the only gym that's kind of open up except YMCA. Go on that jump, grab my eyeballs work, and I do be like, I'll Kurt, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Ain't no come here and all that. You know what I mean? I'm saying it's just temptation everywhere. Now here's the tripping part though, right? I might be tempted physically in my mind, but then be spiritually repulsed. So these two things are working against each other all the time, right? And certain stuff, let's say, I don't know, I was in the grocery store the other day, Food Line or whatever, and there was a couple super duper Chud Johnson there, right? So of course my eyeball said whatever thought in my head, right? But and small channel, so I do know people and whatever, right? But be in no danger of actually not that I'm scared they're gonna reject me and none of that. You know what I mean? I just know that's not really what I want, you know? And that be the vexing part, and I think that would be what's so hard and quitting smoking cigarette, because seemingly what I truly desire is extinct here in captivity. And I'm not permitted to leave. Like I talked about last video, I was hearing stuff about, them deporting, Hispanics and Cubans, and then they started working on Haitians and whatnot. Let me hear something, whether it's true or not, about them deporting African Americans for whatever reason they come up with. I'm knocking on the ICE office. I'll be out there posted up in the lawn chair before they come to work. I heard y'all was deporting African Americans. Man, I'm out, yo. Man, take me, you know what I'm saying? Seriously, yo. The way our family, I have no desire to whoremonger, fornicate, or nothing like that, right? But that's all that's out here. You know what I'm saying? I don't personally know in totality or percentages a whole lot of harmonious, especially black relationships, where there ain't some old hanky-panky going on. And it'd be frustrating. You know what I'm saying? Make me mad, make me angry that this is the reality. You know what I'm saying? That there's no, for the most part, from what I see, and granted, maybe I'm in a small town, maybe that got something to do with it. But there's no further. I got all this seed, but nowhere to plant it. So I might as well just keep it in the bag until a later date. But on a day-to-day basis, it don't get no eater, man. It's so crazy. Like I said on previous videos, I know brothers who have moved from the D.C. area here to rural Maryland and are Muslim, devout Muslims. And I maintain contact with them through, social media, whatever the case may be. It's so bad here. I don't know what the cultural, maybe it's division and, how they just Mickey flicked everything out, right? But the moles, as we call them here in the DMV area, have come to rural Maryland and they are thriving, right? But they didn't hit the next level until they started dealing with white women. And these ain't no Baywatch, Melrose Place type white women. Some of them little portly, they ain't, you know what I'm saying? Whatever, however you look at that, right? But these brothers is happy. And I'm like, what do you do? Yeah, the spirit is strong, flesh is weak. But I got to overcome this. But it's just like every time you overcome, it's some more stuff. Then I was reading about keeping your mind on the things above and things that are holy and pure. I'm paraphrasing, right? And it be hard. It's requiring a greater mental level of mental discipline if I want to reach the standard that he wants. It's like I said, sometimes it's maybe he'll grow me into it. What does it mean when it says sanctification is a work of the Ruach Kadash? Because the version that has been convicted to quit smoking cigarettes was built up along the journey in which I just started changing and not realizing it. Like I stopped eating pork, not for spiritual reason. I was just trying to do something. And then it took me like 2 weeks to get it off the ground because pork was such a big part of my diet. You know what I'm saying? Honoring the Sabbath. Like I walked into doing that. Watching Truth Unedited, I found God's name. I remember I was leaving work riding on a bicycle, and he did a video about the ineffable name doctrine, in which the folks, or the Gentiles rather, took his name out the Bible, saying it's too holy to be uttered, right? But then you read in the word where it say anybody call on the name of the Lord shall be saved. Then I come to understand like God isn't a name; it's actually a title, like Father, but Father ain't my name. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, wow, Joe. You know what I'm saying? And then I was riding, I'll never forget this. I was riding down the road, going home, right, on my bicycle. And I was like, yo, I know the name of the one who saved me the night I broke my neck, yo. Wow. You know what I'm saying? You ever hear these stories about like a super duper car crash and the car catch on fire? And then somebody come save them, you know what I'm saying, out the car. But then when they, paramedics and all that come, and they disappear. And all they want to do is know their name. Like, who was that, yo? You know what I'm saying? But it's real in the battlefield. And I think the spiritual attack or the heaviness gets closer before the breakthrough. You know what I'm saying? To get me to kind of either one, give up, two, resign, or three, I've noticed this within the scriptures, and just my personal life, where right before the breakthrough, he'll try to tempt me with something prematurely that's not as valuable as what I'm designed to have, right before the finish line. You know what I'm talking about? But that's what it is, man. But I'm just fighting the good. And some days don't feel good. Let's be totally honest. And ain't nothing wrong. I just, it's like every time I learn something, there's a new level. Then I got to, read. And I'm cool with it. It's just like, darn. And then maybe because it seems like time is speeding up. You know what I'm saying? Because this week just flew by. You know what I mean? But maybe he's speeding up this conviction because I got to be right before I let go, like the song say, you know what I mean? But it's hard in y'all. And some days are better than others. But some day, like I woke up this morning, I was slow rolling. All I did was sleep and eat. Well, not well, yeah. While I was still dark, I ate or whatever. But I really didn't have a whole lot of gusto. And sometimes you're not gonna be motivated. But I'm still on track to get done with it because I wasn't gonna hop on live today. I was gonna push that back tomorrow when I get my oil change. But I was like, nah, I got time. You know what I'm saying? I was tempted to go get a pack of cigarettes, but I try not to spend or make any money during the Sabbath. So out of fear of doing that, I'm like, nah, let me hop on live. Let me pop this gum. You know what I'm saying? Ah, boy, it's real in the battlefield. But now I can see even in like previous seasons of like levels of awakening, where you can get awakened and it get John like halfway depressing, where you realize the people who were your heroes sold out. You know what I'm saying? You might have that, you might see a shawty or whatever the case may be, or in reference to the women, you might see a, young man or whatever the case may be. You might be digging on him or he's seen woo 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 woo, and then come to find out, in reference to the lady, come to find out, main man sweet. You know what I'm saying? Or you might see here's what's crazy. You can't really tell no more. Now, if I'm viewing this from the aspect of an old job, right? The most soft-spoken, the most, let's say, feminine or modest in their clothing and apparel was going the hardest in the paint. Oh, man, it's rare, cuz. And I was thinking, even, and I know, in the word it talks about, gather yourselves together, right? Now, was that talking about during that time in which that was written? Or was that talking about like now? You know what I'm saying? Because it seemed like outside of maybe small clusters or your family or maybe a small group of friends, like, and I say this because, again, I'm in the substance abuse, mental health outreach, line of work, right? And I feel like my efforts are in vain because of politics, bureaucracy, lack of funding. But we're super funded, but somehow the funding don't get to us somehow, some way. You know what that is. But I just feel like, and then when my man told me, what was that, yesterday? What was that yesterday? Yeah. When he said he just feel like just dying. You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes hope is enough to keep you keeping on. Hey, Mountain Mom, what's happening? Sometimes just hope. I've hope. When I go back to my wilderness season and before he folded time back up, it seemed like when I was ready to give up, you know what? Hell with it. I was tired, boss. You know what I'm saying? He would give me just enough information to hold me in a certain place. Not enough to necessarily take me to the next level or to change my circumstance. Just enough that I don't do nothing crazy that day. And that went on for years, during their decade. So at one point, I thought maybe this is the sentence for all my rebellion when I did know better, right? That's why I'm so hard up on trying to physically discipline myself now. You know what I'm saying? Certain stuff I knew intellectually, just because, and I'm a firm believer in this, just because you know better don't mean you actually do better. If you know better and implement what you know, then you do better. Because I've known, the stuff I know now, I've been knowing it. I just didn't operate in it because of my proclivities or because of my habits and, certain things in regard to that. That's my thing. But, back to my point. I feel like in the black community, it's either one or two things are selling out. There's no middle ground. Just like we can't be lukewarm. You're either hot or you cold. We're either selling out to the system, like the Boule people and the Eastern Stars and the Black Masons and all that, or we're completely losing hope. And even when I started reading them books about slavery and whatnot, when I was reading them books about slavery and whatnot, I never liked the idea of being a slave. The greatest level on my mentality has always been freedom. I think that's why I smoke weed, because it free my mind, or I always rebelled against society, or I always had issues with authority. You know what I'm saying? Unless I felt like they were genuine, then I'll study in your dojo. But if you telling me what to do just because you can, I'm ready to do the exact complete opposite and face whatever consequence. Just so I can say, you didn't make me do nothing. This is crazy. And then think about the little homies and the young sisters coming up who are bombarded with social media and harlotry and, backdooring your friends. And then if you don't see, I don't know how this works, but if you don't see another alternative in genuineness, you'll think that's all it is. It'll make you lose hope, even though you know that's not the way it's supposed to be. I have been blessed and cursed, or the burden of the blessing of knowing how things are supposed to be and operate, but living in something that's completely opposite. You know what I mean? Melanin mindset sounds like in the Bible when it says, he that valid for much wisdom has great sorrow. That's why they say ignorance is bliss. Sometimes in my mind I play with it. Now I'm glad this ain't the case. But sometimes ignorance is bliss. You know what I'm saying? Like if I know I'm gonna get hit by a car next week, I'm not dreading that. I'm just free and woo 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 until calamity comes. You know what I'm saying? I think there is a certain burden. Oh, I know it's a certain burden that come with this life. Especially when you're trying to do right. Just try and do right. I ain't talking about be perfect and this, that, and the third. Just try and do right. Like I always say, I face more hell now that I try to do right. And when I make a mistake, I own up to it. I own up to like certain lust issues or smoking cigarettes or woo woo woo. I keep it real in the battlefield. Because my life got so real, I ain't got time to lie. Lie for what? I don't even care enough about your opinion lies. You know what I'm saying? You lie when you trying to bamboozle people or you trying to paint yourself in a different light than what you really are. I'm so authentically just me, not in superiority, that people will gravitate to you for that and then be repelled by it shortly thereafter because you demand that out of someone else as well. Not saying you ain't got to be like me, you know what I'm saying? Just let me perceive you is just being like you. You know what I mean? That's why I hate I do hate them. The pump fakers, the fraud perpetrators, the bamboozlers, you know what I'm saying? That's why I be going, speaking of that, I got it on my calendar. Now I seen what is it, Trump or what the DOJ, the Doug people with the E on the end, they got a tip line for reporting government fraud and abuse. I'll probably be on that joint all night long, reporting all the people I know. That's all. Man, you think Charleston White something? Man, people talk, man, they like on life, man, he got my granddaddy watch, and I watched that back. Cow, that's been years ago. Man, I don't care. I don't care nothing about it being years ago. How Drake said, I told him that I put it behind me, but I lied. You know what I mean? I understand vengeance is mine, says the Lord. But sometimes, and that's another thing. It just seems like living scripturally by the word in obedience, it puts you at a disadvantage when you're dealing with the world. Unless you come with wisdom with it. You know what I'm saying? That's why I like certain stuff I knew. I just didn't have the wisdom to go along with it. So it's natural or it's scriptural to be married, right? What it say, if you burn with lust, you should marry, right? But in wisdom, I now understand the social construct that I'm in, the marriage license, the laws and all that. It's actually unwise unless you choose someone who you're equally yoked with to get married. He's defined, the adversary, I guess, has defined and turned the Sabbath into a party day. He's turned the holy union of marriage into a joke. You know what I'm saying? Family, which has been the construct of generational wealth and lineage and so on and so forth, is now probably your greatest op. You see, everything he set to order, especially, I don't know how it is everywhere else, but especially here in Babylon. And the only thing Babylon exports, back during the industrial times, like, during World War II and all that, we would export steel and, raw materials, so on and so forth. Now, the only thing that Babylon exports is its wickedness and its culture. I don't know how true it is. I seen a clip saying something to the effect of, now I don't even, and if this is true, this is wild. But again, when the word talk about people having no shame during the last time, so on and so forth. So now I believe Ghana has been westernized to some degree, but this particular report that I saw said that 168,000 Guyanese women, I guess that's how you pronounce it, reported and admitted to cheating on their spouses. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. You know what I'm saying? I would just read reports about, Houston and Atlanta having these super astronomical AIDS rates. Dorchester County, Maryland, on the eastern shore of Maryland, the side of Maryland that borders Delaware, is last in the state in everything, but first in the state in everything bad outside of Baltimore. AIDS rate, teenage pregnancy, unalivings, per capita or per the populace. The school system last. The police stay out to the elementary school because the elementary kids is busting kids upside the head. You know what I mean? We can't get no funding. It's insane. Sometimes it feel like this reality ain't real. This can't be light. This can't be love. It gotta be more. It can't be us. Oh, that makes song about like the Here It Go. And this is where I reside. What you doing down here, Negro? That's where I stay. But everywhere else, like Delaware, West Virginia, I'm not sure about Pennsylvania, they're all experiencing budget surpluses. Help the brother hop. Now it's hard to get through the unemployment line. I so happen to help this brother. We got through, right? So he an older gentleman, so he don't understand, all this type of stuff, right? So in order to verify his address or talk to someone, whatever, in some other department, they were going to send him a link 15 minutes before his phone interview for a video chat. But the woman tells me to tell him that if the video chat crashes, just call back. They can't even run a website for people to get their own money. This is crazy. I work for I'm an employee of the county, but it's under the jurisdiction of the state of Maryland. So technically, I'm a state of Maryland employee. It'll be over like a month and 5 days before I get my first paycheck because they submitted my pay or it got processed late in the state. So then I'll get a double check. But it'll almost be a month and a half, not a month and a half, but like a month and just short of a week before I get my first paycheck, yeah. That's crazy. Me and my coworker are trying to figure out, who's at the controls? Or is it just on autopilot? Or is everybody working from home and woo, 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 you know what I'm saying? But I'm alright, though. It's just documenting. I'm almost like a dirt road historian who's documenting the fall of Babylon in real time and how it affects me personally. Which I should be rejoicing, and I am. Because when it do fall and it's apparent to everybody, I'm going in the hood throwing a party and I'm buying beer for, even though I don't drink. And I won't be drinking. But we're going to celebrate them. Yes, I'm going to rejoice at the fall of the oppressor. I'm affiliated with a government agency. And we know these people, these private nonprofit entities are committing financial fraud and still can't stop them. I'm ready, when I get in the house tonight, I'm reporting these people and see what that do. Because I report them to the state of Maryland, but the state of Maryland don't do nothing. Or maybe they didn't pay them off or whatever. Because, bribery and taking bribes and gifts and all that, that's standard operating business. When I was living in Baltimore, all the mayors got indicted. And I read a report from an unnamed FBI source that said we have enough evidence to lock up the leadership in Baltimore City. But if we do that, won't nobody be around to run the city. So we just deal with it. Or we'll lock them up periodically, you know what I'm saying, or however that works. You know what I mean? That's wild, Joe. It's mad wild out here, big. Let me segue to this, right? Let me get on a little more humorous kind of note. So I talked to my aunt. My aunt is like 85 years old now. This is probably the most inspirational person during my formative years. I thought she was supernatural because I think I'm smart. I've never remembered a time growing up I've outsmarted this woman. This is the woman, come to school if she hear you acting up and would grease you up with the holy oil. And if you got some homeboys around you, they getting greased up too, and she don't care nothing about what they say. They ain't tougher than her. I've seen her like make grown men humble themselves by her sheer presence, right? So now she old school, right? So we were talking about something, What was it? Oh, something about them deporting all the Hispanics. And I said, yeah, they deporting them because they about to bring in the robots. She said, ain't no robot coming up in here. No, I don't want no robot in my house. She said, bad enough I seen a robot in the hospital, I guess, like waxing the floors or something. She said the robot came one way, I went the other. I don't fool with no robots. She don't deal no. Nah, she not doing. She barely hop on the computer. Don't text her. Don't do none of that. Call me on the house phone. I think we just moved out of. I think for the long when I was growing up, we still had that old rotary phone. You know that. You know what I mean? She don't care nothing about society either. She said, you know what I mean? But she was telling me it's time to get right. God got it in control. And that's another thing in the black community, like those elder board members, you know what I'm saying? They going on to glory, you know what I'm saying? And when that spiritual, wisdom is kind of removed, and we see it now, because now if you go in the hood, the grandma, 9 times out of 10, she under 40. Her and her oldest daughter splack the same dudes, or the same type of dudes in the same demographic. This is whack, Oh, Steve Ross said them phones with the truth. Yeah, the nostalgia. You know what I mean? See, I remember going on a time and I thought everybody did this. when when the thunderstorm kicked off, everybody got stopped talking. You cut the TV off and all that there, like that. I see how they socially engineered us, and it's never going back to the way it was because it can't. But I'm blessed to have grown up in that kind of like I want to get my own land and farm now because I came in. I was born in '82, so first memories of any consistency, late '80s, early '90s. We still had livestock. We still had a family garden. I had 3 different sets of family members living on the same plot of land in different houses. You know what I'm saying? We didn't have no trash, man. We burnt our trash, or we put it in and gave it to the pig. You know what I'm saying? I never remember they say like you cash poor, but I never remember like missing no meals because there's food everywhere. People stop past, with deer meat, venison, or they done went fishing and dropped fish off just to, you know, have an excuse to come by and chit chat. We're so divided and individualistic now. It's insane. So much so everybody fighting to sell out. Everybody selling out. Everybody. Everybody on TV done sold out. It's just watching like scripted WWE of Negroes in a social context. Nobody's loyal to each other. Everybody going to jail. Everybody sweet. You know what I'm saying? It's wild, This is what they've turned us into, or at least the image thereof. But that image doesn't reflect reality. But sometimes you'll believe that your perception is reality. Just like I've heard it said that, let's say, LGBTQ plus people, or whatever you designate those folks, only represent 3% of the population. But if you hop on social media, it'll make you think darn near everybody's sweet. Who can truly know what the truth is for the truth to set you free unless you get in them scriptures and then had the Holy Spirit reveal to you how to apply that truth in captivity. That's why now, and I get from a scientific perspective of like a man is designed to maybe deal with more than one woman like they did, back during the days when Papa was a Rolling Stone. Granted, inflation wasn't as it was. A man could take care of, buy a home, buy a car, take care of a family on a warehouse steel job or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So I get how they moved, the man out the house, got the women into the workforce, made them independent, so on and so forth. I get all that, right? But we're just so far removed. This place has to be destroyed because we can't go back to the way it was. Because a lot of us now, like I'm 42, and I still remember, like my grandparents married 70 years. A lot of these people growing up now don't have no memory of that. So even though it might sound good in application, I ain't finna do that. I'm finna get this fake money. You know what I'm saying? How they we don't have a money problem. We have a value. We value the wrong stuff. We don't value family anymore. And then you can't to some degree because I say if you're quote unquote chosen, your family will be your greatest hindrance. This is just stuff that just be on my mind. You know what I'm saying? So I just hop on here and just kind of let it go. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. I ain't nothing. I still do what I gotta do. we probably had similar experience. Steve Robbins said feel like a lot of people who support your channel are 80s baby. Yeah, I was 82. He said he was in 85. See, we were privy to, or we were in that era of the beginning of the crack epidemic. You know what I'm saying? The promotion through movies of gangsterism and gangster rap. We've seen hip hop take off. Like Biggie said, that was the title there. We never thought that hip hop would take it this far. You know what I'm saying? But again, in hip hop, even though all the artists are, Negro or whatever you want to call them, the ability or what they promote is always at the top by the Jewish folk. You know what I'm saying? We were what, let's say, I don't know how you would designate this, maybe first and second generation fully implemented of the single parent household. That was us. You know what I'm saying? Um, the moving into higher levels of education when they started phasing out like skilled trades, and then everybody started going for degrees. We were in that line. You know what I mean? We're privy to a lot of stuff. 9/11, I was on I was going to high school on Fort Meade Army Base. 9/11, I remember that. So we were young people when they invented the war on terror. I did look at my what they call it, the analytics, which most of my content or people who check me out or whatever is, I think, like the 20. Nah, I forgot how they designated, but it is in that like mid 30s, mid 40s kind of area. You know what I'm saying? Even though I try to keep me a youthful exuberant. You know what I mean? But I'm ready to hop up off here. Anybody got anything they want to cover or talk about? You know what I'm saying? Pearl said she was 50s. I think my mother graduated in 66. I think she was part of like the desegregation kind of era. You know what I mean? That's why everybody, when I was coming along, the way I grew up, like education was pushed. That was the way to upward mobility. You know what I'm saying? But and I think our generation, well at least mine, well I can only speak for myself, because we were late with stuff. But now we did it on my mother's side, but not so much on my father's side, where we started giving up and selling off the family land to move into the metropolitan areas and work for the government and so on and so forth. On my mother's side, they still retain the land, and they pass it around through cousins and stuff like that. But they were more entrepreneurial. Like I got a cousin who has a concrete business. He's thriving. My uncle and my cousin had their own beauty shop and barber shop. They were more entrepreneurial. They were more like do for self. On my father's side, they got more integrated into the system of like state government, democraticism, whatever, whatever, whatever. And for the most part, me and my father's side don't get along because of ideals. You know what I mean? And that's why I see y'all in the comment section chopping it up. You know what I mean? But and my aunt was saying this: 2025 is going to be the time to try to heart some men. I see personally the poor, unless you help them as you're able to, the government don't care. They're driving up funding for that. And I get how they set it up, right? Because there's so much financial misappropriation that they can come in and say, we're getting rid of the whole Department of Education because everybody's stupid. So what we need y'all for? Why are we paying y'all? They created an environment to do what they wanted to do anyway. Because the department, or let's say the educational system, doesn't educate you into how to live life. You know what I'm saying? You know how back in the day, like maybe say during Miss Pearl time, where you had home ec and you might have brick mason class and you know how to like balance a checkbook and all that. They don't teach you none of that now. And a lot of time, and I kind of fall into this to some degree, where you're so busy trying to maintain a living and, keep your, just keep your head above water, that a lot of times you don't have the time to impart these type of wisdom into your seeds. You know what I'm saying? I think that's another reason why, they kind of socially changed the dynamic, where those elder board members, while you out working, like my mom, like I was with my grandma, you know what I'm saying? Or my aunt worked for the school system, so I was with her. So I was always getting tended to. not the TV. It wasn't a whole bunch of TV watching back. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't a whole bunch of TV. It was always something to do. Somebody was always tending to you. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't no just be left alone to be, you know what I'm saying? Now in the family construct, like I said, where I live at especially, they put all the mothers to get money, make sure all the kids are designated to be disabled through SSDI so they can get a check for them, subvert their, progress and projection. You know, man, it's wild, man. It's wild. And you can't stop them because they get to run amok. And then you can either kind of go along, get along, which I can't do spiritually, or if you stand up and say something about it, everybody come against you. Why you won't bow down like the rest of Negroes? Negro talking yin yang and what? Not that I kid. Oh, I was at Planet Fitness and seen one of my co-workers, right? So a dude I don't know, when I was making videos about my old job, I took him down, right? He reached out to me and asked me my opinion of the co-worker I just saw because he thinks she doing something wild. I see her, now me and her ain't never had no issue, and I actually thought she was halfway decent. Seeing her, I seen her a couple times, but I just seen her now. She don't speak, I don't speak. You know what I'm saying? I don't care about that. But I just find it odd that people I don't know are reaching out to me, asking me about you. So you must be just like all the rest of them. That's why I say, if you're in some type of social grouping or whatever, and they doing, like with P. Diddy. Now everybody, okay, they thinking, he'll be the path to whatever they're trying to do. But then when he get jammed up, then everybody asks you, like, yo, what was going on? You was around the man for 5 years. You can't say, oh, I don't know. What you mean you don't know? Nah, man. That's why I like to get gone, bro. You know what I mean? And rejection is part of your protection. But on that note, I've been on here for a minute. I don't even know. I was just on here rambling. I do appreciate Miss Pearl, my man Steve, man. You done blessed me today. Keeping it real on the battlefield. Melanin and Mine, I appreciate you. My man Capers. I ain't see my man CEO. He'll probably catch the playback jump. But man, one love. I'm going to keep struggling forward. And I pray y'all do the same. One love, baby.